Hello Disney fans! Finally getting back to reviewing Once Upon a Time. I know it's been months and I'm sorry, but reviewing a series this kind of series turned out to be a lot harder than I thought. If I was reviewing an animated series like, for example, Lilo and Stitch, the animated series, or Goof Troop, that kind of thing I could do easy because basically all the episodes have the same premise. Not so easy with a series that tells a consecutive storyline. But I'm getting back to it, and I wanted to say that my goal from now on is to do one once video and one Disney movie video per month until I get finished with once. Then I'll be able to do more movies per month. Because movies I can do in a day setting. They're easy. But I want to keep moving along with once. So, quick recap to where we were. The last time that we saw the characters, Rumpel had been stabbed by Hook with a dose of poison known as Dream Shade that will kill even him. Although, I'm going to talk about the logic of that for a moment. He's supposed to be immortal, as the Dark One only being stabbed by someone else with the Dark One's dagger can kill him. He's in a non-magical setting now. He went to New York to Manhattan to find his son. So I could see him being more vulnerable there. But once he's back at Storybrooke, he should be fine. But the writers of the show do not follow logic too well. Or apparently remember what they wrote otherwise. But in any case, so that's what's going on with Rumpel. Back at Storybrooke, Regina is teamed up with Cora after being falsely accused of killing Archie, even though everybody knows now that Archie is alive and that Regina had nothing to do with it anyway. Cora set her up. Regina knows that, and yet Regina has been so manipulated by Cora her whole life that she teams up with her now because she thinks nobody in Storybrooke will ever accept her anyway. And it is heartbreaking to see how Cora is capable of doing this to her daughter. Well, Cora's about to take up several levels in evil, if that's possible. She knows that Rumpel is dying, and so she's got a plan to take that power for herself.
Faster. No, there are no other options. I have to stab him with this knife and take his power as my own.
Hard to believe that Cora and Rumpel used to be an item. There was obviously zero actual love involved, at least on Cora's part, and I hope on Rumpel's part. Rumpel, I love you, but get your standard out of the sewer, please. You deserve so much better than Cora. Yeah, so their story is the basic Rumpelstiltskin story that everybody knows from the fairy tales. Miller's daughter has to spin straw into gold. Rumpel comes to help her. There's a few changes, of course. Instead of the father, the miller, being the one to spread the talk that she can spin straw into gold, Cora does that herself after being embarrassed by Snow White's mother, then Princess Ava. So those two families have a major history. Cora was locked up in the tower, like in the original, and told to spin straw into gold or we will execute you. And that was by Prince Henry's father, not by Queen Ava. Princess Ava, then, I should say. But in either case, she's dead if she doesn't spin the straw into gold. Rumpel shows up, but unlike the fairy tale, he does tell her his name, and they develop a relationship of sorts where they were actually going to run off together. But Cora decided he would rather have a position married to a prince than to actually follow what was implied to, well, I'm not even going to say implied to be love. Follow her infatuation with Rumpel and what he could give her. There was obviously no real love there, and she even ripped out her own heart to avoid any feelings for Rumpel. Like I said, Rumpel, please develop a standard. So now she's out to kill him to take the power, and the poison is already working its way towards killing him. Luckily, there is something that Rumpel can do, or rather he can have Snow do for him. Years ago, we see in a flashback that Snow's mother was dying, and she went to who she thought was the Blue Fairy to get a magical remedy for that. Blue Fairy turned out to be Cora in disguise, and Snow was given a candle that if she lit it and held it over the heart of somebody and said their name, they would die in her mother's place. Well, Rumpel has held on to that candle. Snow didn't make that sacrifice, obviously, but the candle did end up in Rumpel's possession.
Why do you have this? For a rainy day.
Snow has two choices now. Well, actually, she considers a third option. Option 1, use Cora as the sacrifice to save Rumpel. Option 2, let Rumpel die and Cora live. Option 3, take Cora's heart. Remember, Cora removed her own heart, so she doesn't actually have to stand over Cora to do this. She just has to go where the heart is. Take Cora's heart, let Rumpel die, and control Cora. Why is this even a choice? Option 1 is obviously the best option. If she goes with option 2, lets Rumpel die and lets Cora become the Dark One, you don't even want to think about the kind of destruction that Cora is going to cause. She would kill pretty much everyone within minutes tops, if not seconds. The third option that Snow comes up with, taking Cora's heart, yeah, eventually Cora's going to get that back. That's not a chance you want to take. Even if I didn't love Rumpel, even if he wasn't my favorite character, there's really no question of what option is the right option here. Rumpel convinces Snow by reminding her that he is actually Henry's grandpa, and he tells her Henry's not going to be too happy to lose his grandpa. So that is Snow's choice at this point, is to actually go and use Cora as the sacrifice. The tricky part's going to be getting her heart back into her body. That's where Regina comes in.
I was going to give it to you. What? She can't love you, you know. She doesn't have her heart. With it, maybe she can. That's why you've never felt she loved you.
Yes, Snow actually tricks Regina into putting the heart back into Cora's body. I'm actually pretty impressed with that, because Snow isn't the kind of person you would think of to be that devious. I mean, I'm glad she did it, but it doesn't seem like Snow. And that's actually addressed later. But, I mean, yeah, I find that kind of impressive that she could be that cunning, I guess would be the word I'm looking for. I'm not sure how well that word actually applies to Snow White, but I'm gonna say in this case, yeah. Meanwhile, of course, Rumpel is still getting worse. He needs Vegeta to put the heart back in Cora's body fast. He doesn't know whether this plan is going to work or not, and he wants to have one last conversation with Belle.
You are a hero who helped your people. You're a beautiful woman who loved an ugly man. Really, really loved me. You find goodness in others. And when it's not there, you create it.
If I were Belle, I know she doesn't remember him. But after being spoken to like that, I'd be on my way to wherever he was. Nothing else would matter. I mean, this guy is obviously suffering, and the pain in his voice and just how much he loves her. I mean, this is one of the most moving scenes in the entire series. And it's a perfect example of why Rumpel is my favorite character. You can really see who he is at moments like this. He loves her so much, and he loves Bay too, and he doesn't know that these aren't going to be their last moments together. How sad is that Rumpel asked permission to hold his own son's hand as he's dying. Of course, Bay still loves him, and Bay stays with him, and thankfully, that isn't their last moment together. Regina puts her mother's heart back into her body in time, unknowingly killing her and saving Rumpel's life in the process. Naturally, Regina is not very happy about this when she realizes what happened. She's mad at Rumpel, but she's even madder at Snow White. She is ready to kill Snow White in order to enact a spell that will make Henry love her, or at least believe he loves her, because it isn't magically possible to make someone love you. Thankfully, she listens to Henry and backs down, realizing she wants him to actually love her, not fake love. There's a lot of good moments, a lot of good clips as could show, but there's enough of them that if I showed them all in these videos, I'd basically be posting each episode. And that doesn't really work too well with YouTube if I post all of every episode. We'd be here a while. Now, Regina backs down, but that doesn't mean she's on friendly terms with any of the others yet. In addition to that, they have other problems. Bay is bringing his fiancée, Tamara, to Storybrooke. Supposedly, she doesn't know anything about magic. But it's revealed early on that there's something going on with her. She's got some kind of a plan. There's also the problem of, remember in my other videos I mentioned the guy who came into Storybrooke when supposedly it wasn't possible to cross the town line, hit hook with his car, ended up in the hospital, he's been sticking around in Storybrooke. Turns out he's been there before. Years ago, when Storybrooke was first created, Regina created the town not realizing that there would be people already there, a couple of campers, a father and son. She ended up becoming attached to the little boy and wanted him to stay. Not within the father's plans, and she ends up trying to force it. She lets the son go and run off, but the father was not as lucky. This man who came through the town line is actually that little boy grown up. Taking the name of Greg for now, but his real name is Owen. I'm not sure what to call it. There's so many characters that have multiple names in here, it's hard to know what to refer to some of them as, but I'm going to go with Greg for now, since that's what all the other characters are calling him. Well, Greg wants revenge on Regina, and he's paired up with Tamara, who wants to either destroy or use magic. It's kind of a mixture of the two. So Regina is in big trouble. Now, all of these things are weighing heavily on Snow White, Prince Charming, Emma, pretty much all of Storybrooke. Rumpel's not really involved in it too much at this point. He's got something else going on that I'll get to in a moment. But the heroes aren't too worried Yeah, heroes. I'll get to that later too. But the characters we think of as the heroes aren't worried about this because they're planning to leave Storybrooke.
Use the beans to make a portal. To go back to the Enchanted Forest, that's the real reason you didn't tell me. What about ogres and destruction and danger?
You can fix all that. You did it before, you can do it again.
You can start over, Emma. So you changed your mind. You want to go now too? Not my mind. My heart?
Yeah, Snow's heart has changed in more ways than one. She was feeling guilty about what happened with Cora and her role in Cora's death, and she actually went to Regina asking her to kill her. The reason Regina spared her is because she's leaving Snow White in her own misery. She showed Snow White her own heart, and there was a black spot in it. Snow White's heart is starting to darken. More on that in later seasons too. But yeah, Snow White never was the little Miss Purity everybody thinks she is. They're all planning to go back, and obviously Regina isn't in the picture. Regina knows about this. She's found out that they have a way of going back to the Enchanted Forest, taking Henry and leaving her behind. If there's one thing that Regina will not allow, it's herself to be separated from Henry. He is the only person at this point that she loves. She struggles with love, yet she doesn't honestly, at this point, know how to love, I would say. But she wants Henry in her life. She values his happiness above her own. It's the beginning of her finding her way back to redemption. She's not going to let Henry be taken. But she has her own idea for getting a fresh start with him.
They won't let me help. They don't see the good in me, the good you've seen. They only see the evil queen, which they made me. And I don't want to be that anymore. This is my chance to go back and start over.
Regina built a failsafe into the curse when she created Storybrooke. A little self-destruct button that gets her and the people she chooses back to the Enchanted Forest, but it wipes out everybody left in Storybrooke at the same time. Regina doesn't quite have the hang of redemption yet. She isn't quite able to avoid killing them. Of course, Henry's not going to stand for that. He wants Regina to be good. She knows that, but she doesn't see a fresh start any other way. She erases Henry's memory of her telling him that so that she can follow through with her plan. And in the meantime, she's going to be trying to get revenge on Rumpel. Remember, he also had a role in Cora's death because, honestly, can you blame him? Let's face it. Like I said, if Cora would have lived and he would have died, things would not have gone well for anybody, Regina included. But she's not able to accept that at this point, and so she starts to mess with Belle. Remember, Belle has no memory at this point of who she actually is. Because in previous episodes, Hook shot her and she fell across the town line. Even though she survived, she doesn't remember Rumpel, she doesn't remember anything. Regina helps by giving her memories. Problem is, they're false memories. They're the memories she would have had if she hadn't been locked up when the curse was cast. Yeah, Rumpel finds a match booklet, and from that he knows that she's gone to the Rabbit Hole, a local, very seedy pub. And he goes to find her there. Not exactly braced for what he's going to find.
Brown hair, beautiful blue eyes, an accent you wouldn't soon forget. Her name's Belle. Belle? Are you sure? Because that sounds an awful lot like Lacey. Who the hell is Lacey?
I've said before that I love Robert Carlyle's acting, and just his expression in this scene when he first sees Belle as Lacey. Like, someone is going to pay for this. There's only one way to get Belle to remember who she really is. True love's kiss can break any curse. Of course, the problem with that is she doesn't love him. She thinks he's somebody that he never even knew. Lots of work going to have to go on to win her back. And Rumpel tries so hard. Invites her on a date, and he tries to be the perfect guy for her. Turns out, unfortunately, Lacey is not into the goodness in Rumpel. She's a little more into seeing him show his darker side. Yeah. She's that kind of a girl, unfortunately. So winning her back, not going to be an easy task for him to get her to really truly love him, because what Lacey has from I hear a lot of characters, and I'm going to talk a bit about this because I know I'm doing more of a recap than a review, but one thing that I really want to talk about is the character of Lacey. I see a lot of people in online discussions who love her. They think she's a much better match for Rumpel than Belle is. No, I don't agree. Just because she loves that darker side of him, but that isn't really love. Belle, at least as she's shown in the original seasons, and I'll talk more about the changes in her as the seasons go on, loves Rumpel himself. A little girl out of you, Marty, you know what's coming, huh? Having a dream? I think so. It's okay. Yeah. But we get some really nice flashbacks in this particular episode to when Rumpel and Belle were first getting to know each other. Oh yeah, you're dreaming. When Belle was pretty new at living at the castle, a thief who turns out to be Robin Hood tried to steal from Rumpel. Bad idea. I don't know why he didn't go to Rumpel trying to make a deal. I know Rumpel has a bad reputation in deals, but if you know his character, if you study his reactions in the deals that people actually made with him, he does not break his deals. If he says you're going to get something, you're going to get that. He's honest in his dealing. Yes, he sets some deals up to be to his advantage more so than the other person, but he's not going to cheat someone in a deal. They get what they ask for. Now, rather than making the deal, as I said, Robin Hood tries to steal from him, and Rumpel pursues him after Belle lets him go, and he finds out that Robin actually stole from him to save his pregnant wife. And we get a great moment here that shows a lot about Rumpel's character.
A thief, and I am right about you. Look, she's pregnant. You are not the kind of man to leave a child fatherless. No!
Belle knows Rumpel could not have missed that shot. That bow is enchanted. It's not possible to miss your target when you fire that. He tries to pretend otherwise, like he just missed, but Belle sees through it and gives him the first hug that I'm sure he's had in centuries. This leads to a scene that I can't resist including, even though there's so much I have to leave out just because of time. Rumpel giving Belle the library. It's one of my favorite scenes in Beauty and the Beast, and it's done really well here too. I don't want to say one version is better than the other, but I don't even want to say that they're on the same they're on the same level. They're done differently, but they're both beautiful. I love this scene. This scene is a treat for any fan of Beauty and the Beast. But one of the things that makes it really special is how Robert Carlyle acts. I know I talk a lot about what an amazing actor he is. But one of his amazing skills is knowing at just what point in the story Rumpel is. Just what point in his character. Because he is so many characters rolled into one over the course of his story. And he's able to keep track of just how to portray him at different points. At this point, his walls are still up. You can tell that. He's not going to admit that it's an outright gift for Belle. He pretends it's just another room for her to clean, and she knows that it's not, and he knows she knows. And the way the two interact off each other, you really get the warm feels from it. You can see them actually falling in love. And that's one of the reasons, the main reason I think, why any version of Beauty and the Beast is my favorite fairy tale love story, whether Disney or in other fairy tales, because you see them work for that love. You see it form. You see them get to know each other. You take a love story like Cinderella's. Seriously, after supposedly falling in love with her, he doesn't even recognize her and he has to hunt for her with a glass slipper, really? And after one night, you take Snow White in this version of the story. Yeah, there's obstacles, and yes, they aren't in love immediately, but there's flirtation there from the start. It doesn't develop the way this does. And so, seeing all these backstory scenes that make up how their love developed are a real treat for me. And if you're a fan of Beauty and the Beast, I'm sure that you enjoy this too. I wish I could talk more about them, although I'm sure that the viewers who aren't as big of fans of them would get sick of it. But anyway, for the sake of the story, I do have to get back to the others. Now, Regina, remember, doesn't want to be left out of leaving Storybrooke, going back to the Enchanted Forest, because she doesn't want to be separated from Henry. Henry's everything to her. So she's got the magic beans, but there's somebody else who's after them and who isn't going to leave without them. Tamara and Greg show up, and they're ready for anything Regina could throw at them.
You know I want it. True. They rigged it with something that blocks your magic. It's impressive.
Greg and Tamara got those magic blocking handcuffs from what they refer to as headquarters. Obviously, there's going to be a lot in store for Regina, as well as the other characters. The series is about to get incredibly intense. I think the next season that's soon to come up, we're almost done with season 2. I think the end of season 2 and the beginning of season 3 are some of the most intense parts of the story. And I can't wait to cover them, but I'm going to have to end this video here for the sake of time. And I really feel that making more but shorter videos will let me cover a lot more quickly than trying to do these long videos. I know that it's a lot of videos for everybody to go to, but I hope that any viewers will stick with it. If not, you can always just go to your favorite ones to cover your favorite seasons. You can enjoy my movie reviews, I hope. But there's a lot of magic to be uncovered, and after a lot of thought, I'm going to have to do it in the way that I feel does justice to the series. So look forward to shorter but more videos from now on. I hope you enjoy, and as always, remember the magic.